Okay, this is video number 2 covering the setting up the scans, and kind of same format as last time. Probably shouldn't take more than 10-15 minutes tops. And then I'm going to stick around and cover some cool features on the platform just to get people up to speed, especially if you're new. If you don't mind, real quick though, I forgot a very important thing with the charts last time. If you're new, once you get the charts the way you want, and I know we don't have all the moving averages on here yet, but what you want to do is go up here to save grid as, if you wanted to keep, just a daily chart, and you would enter in a name. I've already got one saved as Acorn Daily, so I'm not going to resave this, but you would just enter that in and save it. Now, once you've saved that, what you can do is the other kind of feature, or let's say if you ended up opening up 3 windows, right? You can link these by making all these the same color, right? And then you could go down to style and load style, Acorn Daily, and you don't have to redo all your settings, right? And then we just need to get the time zoom right, and it's about the same, except I have a grid in this background, but just about the same, okay? So that's why you want to save it style, right? Now, the next thing that you want to do is, so let's just go back here. Okay, if I said this out of order, I apologize. But the first thing you want to do is save the grid. I think that's what we did. But you also want to save the chart style. So you click on style and save style. And I've already got the Acorn Daily. And that might have been what I showed you. If I showed this backwards, then you also want to go to save grid as and enter the name for the grid, and I've got Acorn Daily right there too. So that's my grid, because once you get everything the way you want it, and you start playing around with it, something will get messed up, and if you don't have that saved, you got a problem. If you have it saved, you have 0 issues. Now, the like I mentioned, these are kind of set. You can kind of pick these templates, however many charts you want on there. The flex grid, the way it works is if we go up here and click this wrench, so we just click that wrench right there, we can make this however we want to. I mean, we can add it. If we click right here, we're going to add a chart below, right? If we click this, it's going to delete. We can add a chart to the side right there. We can add another chart below right there. We can drag this, and this all the straight lines will stay the same. Like, if we drag this, both of those will move. So it's kind of cool. You can go in here and really kind of configure any kind of layout that you want to, and you can switch it back and forth. And then the other good thing is, since we saved that style, we could just go to load style, and this might be off the screen, but Acorn Daily, and we need a symbol. And you've got your chart. So I'm going to click on this, and it's so kind of scrunched up you can't see all the indicators, but when you're in a grid or in the other interface too, all you have to do is double click on the chart, and that brings it full screen. And if we had symbols in all the other charts, you could scroll through your charts by hitting these arrows, double click it again, it's back to where you're at, okay? So kind of the thought process is, if you look at like one setup during the day, and you have like another page that you like to look at that shows, like, I don't know, market internals, or maybe you want to focus on a daily chart for the scans, but on the flex grid you want a weekly, daily, and an intraday chart, or a couple intraday charts. Then what I recommend is figuring out the two that you want, setups or types of charts, that workspaces, okay, the 2 workspaces that you like the most, and put one in the flex grid and one in the charts, because then you can just flip back and forth this quick, okay? And that's how I set mine up. because over here, you can have an infinite amount of these saved, but then you've got to go down and, load one in and, all that instead of just clicking back and forth. So that's kind of the philosophy there. Now, what we're going to do is go to scans, and real quick, I want to talk about these watch lists over here because I need to switch mine. At the bottom, we've got this little wrench, okay? So we've got a couple watch lists right here. Bring these down. I don't want these at the top, so I'm going to click on this wrench, and live news, I'm going to X. And quick quote, I'm going to X out of. Okay. Now, after we run these scans, just kind of so you can kind of envision where we're going. In your watch list, you can keep any type of list that you want, but any scans that we run up here and we save, we'll have whatever we save them as, we'll have a green little dot right here, okay? So this is a scan criteria that I have, and you can put that in your watch list, and it automatically updates all the time. These are daily and weekly, so they definitely update, whenever I log in, or, a couple times a day. But if you had an intraday scan, it would update in real time throughout the day. You would never have to run the scan again. As long as you didn't want the criteria to change, it would just automatically update. And it's there forever until you delete it. You can take it out of the watch list, pull it back in, leave it in there. But you can have a ton of these watch lists, and I've got this screen kind of a lot smaller than my monitor for the video. But you can close these down, right? And so, I mean, you can have a ton of watch lists and, just open up the, whatever scans you want to look at, or whatever stock symbols that you want to have. Now, at the bottom, if you go to plus, you can add as many of these as you want. And the way you would add another watch list is to hit this plus and then go to watch list, right? But they've got a lot of other cool things in here. If you trade, Forex, they've got this cool little map where you can see where all the currencies are at. So we're just going to delete that gadget. Plus, they have Trader TV. You get CNBC live all day long. And then you can, when it's playing, you can pop that out and throw that on another monitor or wherever, and you got live CNBC. So we're going to delete that. And, a couple others that are good. Oh, a quick chart. I keep this at the top of mine. If there's ever like a symbol that you want to take a look at, no matter what page you're on, just to be aware, if you wanted to know just kind of what the general market's doing. So I'm drawing a blank on the Dow symbol because I have it programmed into my watch list, but that's the futures. So if you just wanted to kind of see what was going on, you can have like a little chart here, which I keep at the top of mine, and delete that. And so you can go through these, but they've got some really good ones in here. And, I won't let myself play it, but they even have, Tetris. I mean, you can just sit there and play all day long. Not very good for traders to be sitting playing Tetris all day long, but it's there if you want it. All right, let's jump into the scan. I apologize. I just wanted to give you kind of the future of what we're going to do with the scans. Even though we're on the scan tab, you actually never even have to come here, because what we're going to do is let's go ahead and set one up, and we want to create a new scan query, but we don't have one already running in here, so we can just kind of use this right now. But the first thing we want to do is pick, what symbols we want. All right. I suggest doing all stocks, because if you do all symbols or all optionable, you're going to get futures that are optionable, and some other like odd type like indexes that you normally wouldn't trade. So a bunch of odd symbols will pop up in there, okay? So one thing that they've changed, I think they used to have a stocks and ETFs. So now you have to do stocks, and then if you want to trade ETFs also, you can go in here to public and all ETFs, or they've got, you know, a bunch of things kind of broken down, S&P 500, off the screen, weeklies if you trade weekly options. So a bunch of stuff in here. But we're just going to do, for this scan, we're going to do all stocks and intersect with, I'm going to do optionable. All optionable. So all stocks and all optionable. So they have to be optionable. Okay. It's not a. I didn't get that from the man himself. So you know, if you don't trade options, then that's fine. But just for the sake of this example, all right. Now, what we're going to do here is we want our. First of all, which one we're going to do first? Let's do the Acorn bearish momentum, and I'm going to put this on the screen so I don't mess it up. So the first thing is we want the stock price to be $2. And I did ask Johnny, and he said it's fine to keep the price wherever you want to. So if you want that higher, and if you want to have a maximum, then that's fine. Now, these others are not going to set up the way we want to for volume. So we're going to click the X right here and the X right here. And we are going to go to add a study filter. All right, it always pops up with the ADX crossover. So we're going to go over here and click on the little pencil to edit, and that's off the screen. And we've got the ADX crossover here. We're going to delete that. I'm going to add a condition. I'm going to select a condition, and we want a study. And look up a study, type in, we're looking for a volume average. All right. We'll go down to the V's and do it the difficult way. Why did that not pull up? Volume average. We want to leave this on volume, and it's using an average volume based on, we're using a daily time frame, so it's based on 50 days. Change that, leave it however you want to, put it to 10 days, make it longer, whatever you feel comfortable with. We'll just leave it at 50 right now. And we want the is greater than or equal to, select a condition, a value, and the minimum criteria Johnny usually uses is 300,000. So we're going to leave it right there. You can make it higher if you want, and click Save. Click OK. Now, every time I add something, I always run the scan, because then you know if you have messed something up. Nothing's worse than putting in like 8 different criterias and getting an error and not knowing which one. All right, so our low volumes over 300,000, it seems to be working. That gives us 1,956 results. So let's get that down. All right, so we're going to go to add another study filter. All right, this time we're going to do the RSI Wilder. So we're going to delete that, add a condition. We want a study, and it should pull up under RSI Wilder. Offset 0, RSI. We need to change this to a value of 8. Hopefully that's not going to kick me out. Come on. All right, so we've got 8 in there, and the rule is the RSI Wilder has to be above the 70 for the bearish momentum. So the is greater than a value, and we're going to type in 70. Hit save. Okay. And let's run the scan. We had 1,956 stocks. Now we have 386, so we are dwindling it down. All right, this is where we're really going to cut it. We're going to add in, so add a study filter. Let's go to edit. We're going to delete the ADX crossover. And we are going to add a condition. And this one is the study. This is going to be the one that one of the ones that you imported. The twigs money flow. Keep this as 0. Now remember, this is important. Remember we had the histograms, but we kind of had the 3 histograms because it changed 3 different colors. And the TMF line is the line that I put on that went around the histogram that I made a white line that just shows kind of the normal line that you're used to looking at. So we want to select this, the TMF line. And the period is 21, so that's right. And the rule is for the bearish momentum, the TMF has to be below 0. So is less than value 0. Tab, save. Oh, okay, right here. It says a filter is linked to this custom think script, the Acorn Twigs money flow. What this is saying is we put that in there as an indicator, right? So if we make changes to the indicator, it's not going to change in your scan. Okay, that's all that's saying. So if I was you, I would check that because it's obvious. I'm going to leave it unchecked in case, again, I ever have to do the video again, just to explain that to people. But that's all that's saying. And now we've got our Twigs money flow in there. And we had 386 stocks. Let's run it. Now we're down to 29. Now we need to close above the Bollinger. So we are going to, last one is add the study filter. Delete. Add condition. Study. And this is going to be under the Acorn. This is one of the ones I sent you because it's a lot simpler writing out the code than doing it with the options that they give. So we want to close above the Bollinger. Select that. And this is a true or false statement because the code has already been written. So is true. And within 1 bar, and click save. Okay, same message, and let's run the scan. Now we're down to 15 stocks. The low is 400,000, so that criteria is right. And I'm not going to do it in this video, but I'm going to create some custom columns with the indicators, and that might be a few weeks down the road, but I'll get those to you guys where you can kind of visualize everything as you're going along. And what we're going to do is up here, I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click Save Scan Query. And this is going to be Acorn Bear Momentum Daily. And we did stocks and optionable. So I'm going to put SO, and that just makes sense to me. Name it whatever you'll want to. But I trade a lot of weekly stocks, so I need to have these separate for when I run the weekly scans. So I'm going to click Save, okay? Now, over here in our watch list, pick whichever one we want, but we can go to Personal. We just save that watch list, and Acorn Bear Momentum Daily. Click on that. And if we sort by alphabetical order, which is what this is doing, you can see we've got all the same stocks over here that we do over here. And so you never have to come back here after you get it the way you want to. You can just, keep it in here and it'll update automatically. You can have a ton of these in there because again, you can kind of lower them and raise them and it'll, always be there. So this is a full scanning feature in here. The only thing you can do is you can go to customize and take out any of the columns and add in any columns that you want to, okay? Now, let's make sure it's working. So we're gonna go back to the chart and we just need to link the chart. So we've got this chart in red right there. So we just need to make this red. And let's see if it meets all of our criteria. Put the criteria right here. Click on this one. So price is above 2, barely. We can't check the volume here, but we saw that on the other page. RSI is above 70. It's red, so it's above 70. The TMF line is below 0 and close above the Bollinger. We were right there at it, so barely, but that qualifies. Click the next one. We definitely closed above the Bollinger. RSI is above 70. Twigs is negative, so that qualifies. And so it looks like we coded it correctly. Above the Bollinger, above 70, and we are barely below 0 right here. So that qualifies. So everything looks good with that scan, okay? Now, for you experienced guys, I'm just gonna do the other scan, which is just the opposite of what we did. So this has been kind of a long video. Take off. We're not going to cover anything else pertinent. I'm just going to do the exact opposite, the bullish momentum scan. And then after that, for people that want to stick around, I'll cover some other features on the platform that may be of interest to you. They've got some incredible stuff if you trade options. Okay, let's knock out this last scan, and what we're going to be doing now is the Acorn bullish momentum scan. So let's cheat and go in here instead of just redoing it from scratch for the practice. We're just going to go in here. This 2 stays the same, volume stays the same. I'm sure this is very obvious to you, but if you're creating scans and like the first 2 or 3 things are always the same, it'll be good to save those because then you can just pull them up and then add to them. All right, RSI Wilder. So we're just going to go in and edit this. Is greater than 70, edit, and we want this to be RSI Wilder is below, and this should be 30. Is less than RSI less than 30. Done. Okay, 2 more. Twigs money flow is above 0. We just did less than last time, so I'm going to do greater than or equal to 0. Save. Okay, same message as last time. And 1 more. We need to put in a whole other study here, so we're going to delete this one because that was a true-false statement, right? We can't change anything. So we're just going to add a condition. And we're going to do a study, and we just need to go down to Acorn. And we need close below the Bollinger for the bullish. I'm writing a lot of mistakes here, at least I'm catching them. Below Bollinger for the bullish, yes, that is a true-false statement, so that is true. Save. Okay. Okay. Now let's run this scan and make sure we get stocks. 6 of 6. So I'm going to go up here and we're going to save scan query. Momentum. And what we do last time, named it daily underscore stocks, all stocks that are optionable. Click save and get rid of these. And in this watch list, I'm going to go to personal, Acorn, bullish momentum. And we've got the same 6 stocks. Let's make sure they work. Red. Close below the Bollinger, below, and Twix money flow is above. Perfect. Got it right, even though I wrote it down wrong. Close below the Bollinger, below 30. Twix money flow is positive. Below the Bollinger, below, and below Z, or that one, it probably just greater than or equal to. Was that in both of them? Nope. So the right on the borderline there, and I don't know if we looked at that one. So yeah, all the criteria work. So we got it right. So congratulations. We have the Twigs money flow, the scan in Think or Swim now. So sorry the video's been so long, but a lot to go through. We're done. So we were covering all the topics for, the indicators and setting up the scans. If you want to stick around, and I'll cover a couple features, and I should have covered this the first thing in the first video, but if you go up to the Help tab and click Launch Learning Center, wow, that's big. This comes up, and you've got tutorial videos in here. Covering all different, features on the platform, charting. I mean, everything's in here. So a lot of resources right there. A couple of cool things in here is, so let's say we were looking at a stock, right? And I went on Analyze, and then it's highlighted on Fundamentals, okay? So a lot of times when we're trading stocks, buying some options, we could really care less. We're just looking for the technical setup. Every once in a while, I have some trade setups that I do for my family's retirement account. And if I've never heard of it before, I just kind of want it to know that it where it's based out of, that it's not a overseas company that is listed over here but doesn't really have to operate by our rules. So you can go to this fundamentals, and they've got a couple of cool things here. Just real quick, in a company profile, a little write-up, so you can get kind of the gist right there. But if you scroll down, where is it at? Maybe they don't still have one. Let me put in Apple. Yeah, they've got this great feature. I guess it just has to be on a larger cap stock than what that was. But I forgot the name of this company, but this is an expensive service that that I was considering paying for at one point in time, and they just pay for it and give it to you for free. But it's a visual way of looking at what they do. So you can see right here, it's Trefis. Trefis is the website. They say that Apple should be at a value of $603.64. And where is Apple at right now? 540. Okay, so that's Trefis's value, all right? And what they do that I love is, because reading all this stuff, it makes me go to sleep and I don't understand it. But you can click on this, and this is the biggest percentage of obviously their earnings, right? And it's got, your iPhone pricing, and it's showing, where they make all their money and what kind of the projections are, the forecast for each division, right? And then you can get like a division overview right here, but I stick with the pictures. And you can click over here, and the second thing they make the most money off of is right in here. So kind of cool. And I'll show you one that I thought was like really interesting, and then we'll end this little part and go into something else. But I pulled up Walmart for some odd reason, and I just thought this was really interesting, and I would have never known this because I would have never written or read their financials. But where do they make the most money? Number of store in the U.S. Number of Walmart U.S. stores, 3.8 thousand. So what's that? 3,800. Projections down the road is to be at 4,500. Okay. Now, if you go to where they make the second most money, is international, and they have 4,000 stores international, and they're expected to be at 8,000 stores over there. So they've got more stores international than they have in the United States, and that's expected to double. So very interesting that, they're making the majority of their money in the United States, and I guess it's because it costs a lot more to expand over there. But they've also got, let's see, the international square footage per store is 65,000. In the U.S., it's 100,000 more than that, so they don't have the huge stores over there. But the average person, international revenue per square foot is $390. And in the U.S., the store is 100,000 square feet larger, and it's 432. So kind of interesting facts you can get just real quick if you ever pull a scan on a company you've never heard of and want to check it out real quick. The probability analysis is, let me just link all these. I'm not going to get into this now, but this is what it's saying is a standard deviation. And a standard deviation, just by numbers themselves, if you are selling options outside of a standard deviation, the first standard deviation, you're right at a 70% probability of being right without any skill of picking direction whatsoever. It's what major institutions do. And when volatility rises and you can get into, selling premium outside of the second standard deviation, you're looking at like, 95%, plus probability of it working out in your favor without even looking at a chart, just statistically. So very important. I would, if you trade a lot of options, look into it. I started out broke, and I made my money initially trading, options directionally, buying calls and buying puts. And, we've gotten to a point now where I rarely buy a call or a put. I sell premium, and, I don't make 1,000% return on a great home run anymore, but it's just, I place the trade and they work. When you put these odds in your favor and you have skill at looking at the charts and direction, it's kind of it's a cool thing when you let's say if stock's at 50, and for whatever reason I'm selling like a $40 naked put, but I think the stock's going to 60, and the stock doesn't go my direction. It goes all the way down to $42, and I still made all the money that it was in there. So it's it's relaxing. So highly recommend you look into that. What are the other things? Scanner, Market Watch, Visualize. Cool little feature. I'm sure you guys have seen these. They were one of the first ones to have it way back when, but they've become kind of popular now. But you can put in your own little, your own watch list, or look at the whole market, all that kind of stuff, just to get if you're out about during the day, you come back and it's just, a nice little visual glance. So I'm not going to cover too much more. There was one thing that I wanted to see, under trade, all products. So there's two things on this page that are worth you sticking around for if you've stuck around this long, and I do appreciate it. And sorry it's been so long, but this is huge right here if you do options, okay? It's very rare that what I think are so popular for options people is they provide statistics that no one else does. And I have a ton of platforms and no one provides this, okay? The 52-week implied volatility high and low. Now, Walmart is not the greatest of examples, so let's find something that's a little more volatile. So the 52-week high implied volatility of Apple is at 45%. The low is at 21%. And where are we at right now? 35%. Okay. So we're kind of right in the middle, right? So in general, if we're near the highs, it's typically a bad time to buy calls per se, unless it's very short term, for a, very high probability move, because a lot of people base options on the VIX, but stocks have their own like little cyclical thing going on too, and this gives you those numbers, right? So statistically speaking, if you're at the highs and you're selling premium, and then plus you're doing it with standard deviations, and then plus you have chart reading abilities, it gets really, really easy. And when the implied volatility is at the low end of the historical range for the stock, typically that's a great time if you have a charting reason to do so, to buy long calls and have huge returns. Now, last thing I'm going to cover, and then we're done. If you click on one of these options tabs, this number right here is very important, okay? No one else gives this. See this plus or minus $44.46? Now, we are talking about Apple, $540 stock and volatile, okay? But if you are buying for whatever reason, the February 14 calls or puts based on the closing price, okay? This is called the market maker's expected move, and no one else gives this out. That they are saying that the stock is going to move plus or minus $44.46. And it's not that they're saying that it's going to move that much, and so it's going to be that much higher or that much lower on that date. They're saying that it most likely will not be outside of that range, either plus or minus, right? So what does that mean to you? If you buy one of these calls or one of these puts, and the price has not exceeded that number, so 540 plus 44, 584, and you held to expiration, which we usually don't, right? You would not make any money. The premium would just be sucked out of it, and that's what the market makers are basing all their numbers that they're selling these options on. Okay, so same thing on the downside. So that's huge. Now, could you buy this if you have a chart, driven reason, and the stock, jump up $20 in the next 3 days? Would you make money? Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, this is, based on holding to expiration, but this number is very important. So when you link this number in with this number, and then when you get kind of good at looking at the standard deviations and understand those, the platform provides a lot of information. A lot more I could go into, but it's been too long. So thanks for staying. If you have any questions, let us know.